Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Jordan Dove here. Today is Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is healthy. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you are doing something productive today. But hey, today I want to talk about house flipping and how big of a market share that house flippers had in the first quarter of this year as this statistics just came out. And I know you guys have seen the TV shows on TV, Flip or Flop, Love It or List It, all these flipping shows that they have. And it kind of drives me nuts because they make it look sexy. There's always really good looking people or a good looking couple or a good looking woman on these shows, and they make it look so easy to cut the tile and lay the flooring and install new cabinets and managing crews and getting the deal. They make it look so easy. So a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, I want to do this for a living, or I can flip a house." And I've been in the business for 8 years, and just last year I started actually doing this personally without a team, doing it on my own with my wife. And it's a lot of hard work. Yes, there is good money in this boom market that we've had, but we're entering a bear market, so it is going to get more difficult. So there was some stuff I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to share it with you about house flipping, some statistics, the markets where it's hot, the markets where it's not. And I want to go back to those shows real quick, because what they don't show you is how difficult it really is. They use gross numbers. For example, we bought this house for $300,000. We spent $50,000 in renovations. We sold it for $450,000. We did it all in 6 months and we made $100,000. Well, it doesn't really work that way, so that's what kind of irks me about those shows. And, they don't talk about the costs that go into purchasing and selling, like your closing costs. And many times, flippers are buying in cash, but it's actually hard money, which, yes, is cash, but it's a form of private financing, or with a lender who's going to lend you money in cash, and that's usually a high interest short term mortgage note. So they got a 1 year to exit and they're paying 10% a month on that money. They don't really disclose this information. So you have to run all these numbers and calculate all that stuff in. But 1 in 10 U.S. homes, or 10% sold in the first quarter of this year of 2022, was flipped or bought and sold. Flip means bought and sold within 1 year by an arm's length buyer, and that is the highest level since the year 2000. And the reason why this matters is because while there was an upward march in home prices, it has turned house flipping into a complete blood sport, Spartan fight in the trenches, okay? Profit margins are now on the decline, and this is reflected from rising mortgage rates and higher labor and material costs. And it is getting much more expensive to do this. Okay, I just been buying materials like crazy and the prices are up. And trust me, guys, I know about this. I'm flipping a property right now and the market has shifted what seems like overnight. That rate hike that I don't think anyone saw coming in that proportion, that high, where they virtually doubled overnight, that is definitely taking an effect on the market. But according to Adams Research, home flipping has been on the rise for 5 straight quarters. In the first 3 months of this year, 114,706 single family homes and condominiums in the United States were flipped, representing 9.6% of home resale transactions. And that was up from 6.9% in the fourth quarter of 2021 and 4.9% in the first quarter of last year. But the raw profits on those deals were lower than a year ago, and profit margins sank to their lowest point since 2009. 2009, we were on a steep decline before it bottomed out in 2012. So the top 5 markets that they're flipping: Phoenix took home the flipping prize for the first quarter of 2022. 18.7% of all home sales there were flips. Think about that. Almost 20%, almost 1 in 5 in Phoenix were flipped homes. And to top out the list of the top 5, you have Charlotte, North Carolina at 18%, Tucson, Arizona at 16.2%, Atlanta, Georgia 16.1%, and Jacksonville, Florida at 16%. And where they're not flipping at the lowest levels was lowest level of flipping was Olympia, Washington, and that was analyzed by Adam. Only 4.4% of homes were sold that were flipped. To round out that top five, the next runner-ups were Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon, Salem, Oregon at 4.7%, Syracuse, New York 4.7%, and Davenport, Iowa 4.9%. So if we're looking at these numbers, while these starry-eyed investors like myself continue to fix and flip, their return on investment is dwindling. Typical returns decreased in 3/4 of metro areas, Adam said. So 75% of metro areas have decreased in their profits. Flipped homes, they resold for a median price of $327,000 in the first quarter of 2021. That's a gross profit of $67,000 above the median investor purchase price of $260,000, resulting in a 25.8% profit margin. But margins declined in the first quarter of 2022 from the prior quarter in 73% of metro areas, with enough data to analyze, as reported by Adam. So what we can expect next is the fix and flip market. It's expected to cool alongside the broader real estate market as mortgage rates rise, home prices soften, and labor and home building materials, they're going to continue to be in tight supply. We had to buy a different type of baseboard. They had plenty in stock, but it wasn't the style we wanted. It still looks good, but we had to pay a higher price for a different baseboard that we didn't want to get because those baseboards had to be shipped. They wouldn't be here for 3 weeks, and that completely messes up our timeline, so we couldn't do that. The cost of paint, brushes, rollers, everything has gone up. I mean, goof off, when you spill the paint, that's like $10 now. I mean, it was $5 forever. That's doubled in price over the last couple years. But fix and flips, guys, they're tough. I know they make it look sexy. It's really, really hard. You have to really, really analyze the numbers. We, on ours, we're going to be all in at about $250. Is going to be our total cost for the project, including the purchase and closing costs. And when we ran our numbers in May, it looks like we were going to have a $310 sales price, and it looked very optimistic. But now those rates have doubled, and now we're looking at maybe a $290 to a $300 sales price, and we're going to give the buyer some incentives. We're going to give them thousands of dollars for closing costs. We're going to pay a higher commission to a buyer's agent. And that is where the market's shifting. So me personally, I'm going to get ahead of that curve, that's what's coming in the market. And I'm going to give this incentive to a buyer to separate my listing from the other 8 or 9 that are currently active in the community. But because we're able to get it for this price and go in at this price and stay on budget, we're still going to be able to make a good return on our money invested. I'm very optimistic about that. But we have to adapt and make some changes for that to happen, such as giving those incentives to a buyer. They can always use that money to help buy down their rate so the payment's more affordable, or they can use it for their closing costs or down payment or whatever, okay? So that's what's going on in the market. 10% of homes were flipped in the first quarter that were sold on the resale market. There was a lot of people in the industry. You also have the big players like Open Door, who buys properties, fixes them up, puts paint and carpet, then sells them. You had Zillow doing it for a while. So it'll be interesting to see where these numbers go as our market begins to shift, all right? So this is a short little video today. Hope everyone's doing well. You guys have a good one. Excuse the little messy hairs, wearing a hat today. Shout out to the Savannah Bananas. Our kids play baseball. We just got back from Cedar City, and kids had fun. It was great. But that's what we do, man. So you guys take care. Go check out Chuck's video this afternoon. Shout out to Greg Manarino. Grateful for you guys. Lots of love. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.